Time to get your MMA fix, junkies. Take it away, Big John.
Gorgeous George and Coach, are you ready? Junkie Nation, are you ready? Well, let's get it on.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, our ace co-host. Back east, alongside Jumbo Josh, it's Kelly. What's up?
No nickname, huh?
No nickname yet, man. I was thinking, but they gave me 15 seconds. We threw out Smelly Kelly. That ain't working.
That ain't gonna work.
Classy Kelly's too much. Apparently, she's not feeling that name, so we'll work on it. But she'll be producing the show back east, and we're looking forward to a fun Tuesday, June 4th. I believe it's my buddy Dr. Harold Black's birthday.
Do you remember that just off the top of your head, or is Facebook telling you?
Shout out to him. Yeah, if you would have asked me without even me looking at Facebook, I would have known it.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, I've gone to school with that guy since I was 6 years old. Literally since first grade, all through, intermediate and elementary, because it was a Catholic school, so we don't split it. And then straight to high school, even a couple years in college. So I've known him just as long as I've known almost any of my buddies.
I don't know.
Except for his wife. I've known his wife even longer.
Birthdays. Hopefully he's not listening. I probably barely just learned Dad's birthday about 3 or 4 years ago. June 29th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I used to always think July,
what kind of
June,
a
which
Nimrod
one
are
is
you?
it? I don't know. Well, he doesn't know mine.
Come on.
He didn't know how old I was the other day, and he didn't know what. So
That's
I told him,
different.
I go, just do the math. And he goes,
No, that's
what's your
different.
birthday? And I had to tell him.
He's playing dumb. He knows
Nah,
that.
he wasn't playing dumb.
That means he doesn't know mine. We're 3 days apart.
No, he knew yours.
Then that's it.
Yeah.
Trust me.
He kind of guessed it, but he knew yours.
I'm still shocked that you don't know it. Kelly, do you know your family? Tell us a little bit about you, first of all. You just joined us yesterday, I believe. So where are you from?
I'm from Long Island. I joined the channel I think 3 weeks ago, but I just started with you guys yesterday. But I interned here last summer.
Okay.
And now I'm back.
And now you're back. All right. So
I do know my family's
birthdays. You still have your
birthdays,
parents? Can you do you know their birthdays?
I do. My mom's October 14th, and my dad is January 15th.
See, goes. Come on.
I started this off by saying, can you believe?
No.
So in other words, I'm saying I'm an idiot.
If we
but
took 100
my
calls,
bailout was he didn't know mine.
If we took 100 calls, I'm telling you, every single person that calls in would go, I know my parents' birthday.
First of all, you lie.
You're on
because you
an
can't go
island.
100 and 100. But I don't understand
unless
where
it's just
I
some
don't
jerk that goes,
understand your argument right now. I started off by saying I'm dumb.
Yeah.
And then I backed it up by saying the crazy part is he didn't know mine.
No, he
How
knows
am I
yours.
still getting avalanched?
He knows yours.
And he
It's
kind
just
of didn't know yours.
Dumb was not a strong enough adjective. But whatever. All right. It's Tuesday, June 4th. And today we have a fun show planned. We're going to talk to Jordan Johnson, now fighting for the PFL. This is Season 3, and he'll be debuting here in the light heavyweight division. He fought in the UFC for a while. Undefeated, man. He's 10-0, so he's undefeated in the UFC. He's undefeated overall. He's coming on at 8:40 p.m. Eastern, 5:40 p.m. Pacific. Neiman Gracie fighting over at Bellator. He's part of that Grand Prix. They were in the semifinals on June 14th. He actually faces the champ for his belt, and the winner continues in the Grand Prix. So high stakes over there at Bellator at Madison Square Garden on the 14th. Not to mention that the winner fights Douglas Lima for $1 million. So this is massive for Neiman Gracie, also undefeated. Kelvin Tiller, who was going to be on last week, we missed him. He's going to be on this week. He's a PFL heavyweight. He'll join us at 9:30 Eastern, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. Neiman Gracie's 30 minutes before him. I don't know if I gave out his time or not. There was one fighter that told me he couldn't come on at a certain time because that's when they'd be doing the ceremonial weigh-ins. And I go, at 9:30 at night? And they went the reverse. Yeah, and I was shocked because this is one of the smarter fighters. I'm not gonna call him out.
No, but did you at the time?
I wanted to, but I was thinking like, wow, you've been hitting the head, man. It's the other way around. You're ahead of us. But he laughed it off. So anyway, and it wasn't Tiller, it was somebody else. Regardless, call in, folks. 877-FIGHT-93, 877-344-4893. Especially call in if you don't know your parents' birthday. I mean, if you have some story where, listen, they gave you up for adoption or something, I get that. But if you grew up with your parents and you still have contact with your parents, I would honestly be shocked if you called in all sincerity and said, I don't know my parents' birthday.
Well, no, I guess where all this started was I was shocked that you knew your friend Harold's birthday, because Harold, what is he? I mean, he's not top 10, right, friends? He's a good friend, but what I'm saying
top
is
10.
like he's top 10?
Yeah.
10?
Ask me any friend's birthday and let's see how I do. Quick quiz.
Okay. When's Woody's birthday?
November 7th.
But see, I don't know. I mean, you could just be making
I'm
this
positive.
up.
I'm not lying.
When is Victor Rosano's birthday?
Well, he's not top 10.
I know, but that's where I kind of like had them.
I would say something strikes me like as a July, but that's one that I admit.
Kelly, I have a question. Do
Yes.
you know, let's just go through your top 5, get past them. Do you know like 6, 7, and 8? Do you know their birthdays? I think it's amazing that you know this guy's birthday.
Honestly, no.
Me neither.
5 might be pushing it too.
For me, it's like maybe 3. I know
Really?
Tommy's, I know Rodney's. I think that's it.
Hmm.
Because Facebook makes it so easy.
True, but
Same like phone numbers. I don't know phone numbers. I know Mom's phone
I
number. I
forgot
know
phone
yours.
numbers. I forgot phone numbers.
That's it.
I
just
know
2.
yours. I think I could guess Mom's. I know Mom's home number,
I
but
know
yeah, I
what the
forgot.
home
I
number-
forgot
yeah.
phone numbers a long time ago.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Although one of my security questions on one of the many websites I peruse,
Mm-hmm.
not Pornhub, but it was something else.
Mm-hmm.
It was, do you know your first phone number? And I'm talking about when we lived at Borchard, so you weren't even born yet.
Yeah.
I think it carried over for a while, but it was 714-546-4536. I'll never forget that one.
I'll never forget
still remember
662-3602.
Yeah, I
That
still
was
remember that one.
One of the first ones I ever learned.
Yeah, 612-6632. Wait, what was it?
662-3602 was our original house
662-3602.
phone number.
Yeah, that's true.
It was catchy.
Yeah.
Not Glenn Lerner catchy, but it was there.
What's Glenn Lerner's?
877-0550, right? Something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, now you got me confused. Because I'm supposed to remember that. Like, if I ever get in trouble, he was the attorney I'd go to if I couldn't.
You would?
Well, if Rob wasn't around, Rob Cardenas, he's my
Ah.
bailout. Call 877-5000.
No,
Doesn't he
it's
say
not
that?
No, it's not that.
I didn't get it right.
Here, I'll look it up.
You know what pisses me off
Huh.
is well, nah, we're gonna go down a rabbit hole. I don't
Alright.
want to do that. I want to talk about some big news.
Let's do it.
Khabib Nurmagomedov and Dustin Poirier, the worst kept secret in MMA. September 7th, they're gonna be fighting. Except we all knew this. It's just that we were all waiting for the UFC to break it. And I think what that means is the UFC was going to make one more run at just figuring out the Khabib, McGregor, all that whole little mess. And just, I still feel like they wanted to just see how all that fit in the big puzzle. That's the big
What do you
fight
mean, though, by that? Because
Like-
you could either mean the suspensions of Khabib's crew, or you could mean we want to take one more stab at seeing if we can make Conor a part of this. I think it was more the suspension thing. I think they had passed the Conor thing.
Well, I think maybe what they were figuring was like, Conor, would you be ready to go in December, and then that way you fight the winner? Or, because look, man, they're gonna piss some people off. Cowboy and Tony Ferguson are walking into that octagon on Saturday, feeling like the winner is gonna fight the winner of Poirier and Khabib, but Conor's just this unicorn that messes things up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a little bit of a delay had to do with maybe 25% Conor McGregor. Another thing had to do with probably just, buttoning down what kind of payments each fighter's going to get. Apparently Khabib got a new contract that also says something about GSP. So, all those big athletes that make a lot of money, I think there was just discussions going on, secret handshakes, secret, calls happening, contingency plans, and I think all that finally got buttoned up. But it's official. UFC 242, Dustin Poirier will challenge. Well, no, I should say he'll unify. He'll unify his UFC lightweight interim title versus Khabib Nurmagomedov's undisputed title. This is taking place on September 7th in Abu Dhabi, and it's UFC 242, and obviously that is the main event. So, huge news. But again, we all kind of had a feeling that this was going to happen. That's why I said it was a little bit of the worst kept secret out there.
I think it's a good fight. I'm happy that it's happening, and I think Dustin can make it interesting because there's been times where Khabib has been hit and he's been staggered a little bit, And Dustin seems to have a little bit of this killer instinct, but at the same time, he's smart and he knows when to back off. I think he's mastered that. So I'm actually really excited for this. I think the odds should probably be a little bit closer. I'm not sure exactly
I'm
where
glad
they're
you
right
brought
now.
that up.
What are they at now?
Well, there's different houses, and one of the biggest ones out there is 5 Dimes.
Okay.
They have Habib at minus 350, Dustin Poirier at plus 250. There's another one that has a minus 335 and a minus 360, and then Dustin comes back at plus 265, plus 295, respectively. That seems high.
I would say minus 300 would be the max that I would go.
I agree. I thought it was going to be more in the two range.
Yeah.
But, hey, look, at one point, Habib knocked down Conor McGregor.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you can say his hands just absolutely suck. You know, when he first came out, his hands weren't as strong as they were. I think you could say like maybe they were a 4 out of a 10 or something like that. I think he's raised it to like maybe a 6, 6.5. He's not fluid. He's not Izzy or anything like that. But still, there's power, and I think he's using them a lot better than he used to. Now, his wrestling is 10 out of 10. His ground and pound is 10 out of 10. His cardio is 10 out of 10. His confidence. If he was a video game, I mean, that he's got a lot of 10s.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin Poirier, on the other hand, 5 years ago, I think Habib takes him down, 10 times. But I bet you right now, Dustin probably put a lot of work in over the years because Dustin's smart. He knew he was going to face this guy at some point. So I bet you a lot of his camps went into his current teammate, but also making sure he was chasing the champion.
Do you believe that other sports ever have effects on other sports, gambling-wise? And where I'm going with this is, do you think anything that happened with Andy Ruiz, anything at all, because it's usually close to the same guys that are set in the same lines, do you think that ever sticks in their head where they go, oh, I don't want to go too high, I just look like a fool this past weekend? Do you think that ever happens?
No, because there's another 20 Anthony Joshuas that have held up their end of the bargain and just won.
Mm-hmm.
They've been big favorites, and they've won. Like, if I go, hey, name some big underdogs that won in combat sports, you'd go Matt Serra, Buster Douglas, Andy Ruiz, Sokaju, But did you notice they're all like 3, 4, 5 years apart? I mean, Buster probably goes back 30, 35.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a few more, but still, I'm talking about the ones that are like even past 1,000.
Holly Holm
versus Ronda, great one, great pull. So I would imagine that during the course of time, there's enough that even it out. Plus, look at the odds. When it gets that high, is that sheet here from yesterday? Here it is. Look at this, dude. The odds on that fight. And so I don't know you. And we're standing in 2 different lines here at the Mandalay Bay. I want Joshua. I give him $2,000 to win 1,000. No, hey, to win 100. What am I thinking? I go, I'm going to pick up a quick $100. This is the easiest 100 of all time. I give him $2,000 on undefeated Anthony Joshua. Holder of 4 belts, never lost. He's defended his belt. He's an Olympic gold medalist. I just think it's the easiest hundy ever. You walk up and say, here's 100 to make 1,100. They're laughing at you as they give you the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if you think about it, here's what happened. If we're the only 2 that bet, when we walk up, well, I'm not walking up because I lost. But when you walk up to collect your 1,100, they're taking it out of my 1,000. They just made $900. So that difference, it gets patted on with all the different fights that we have, and the sports books are usually able to sustain. Now, football's a different animal. That's like, all the way from exhibition to the Super Bowl. That's just literally about 30 weeks. College on Saturday, pros, on Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays or whatever, where a lot of money is being exchanged. It's a little bit different. You can walk in here on a Monday and go, hey, man, how'd it go? To the sportsbook people, and they'll go, oh, we got crushed on Saturday. And they got the following week to maybe make a run back or whatever, but
I think they bounce back.
Yeah, because they're both like minus 110s. But so I give them 110, you win 100, they made 10 off of me. That's what they're doing. They're trying to offset each other, but the difference is only $10. Here in this example, it was 900.
Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady can have a bad day, and their team can still win because everyone else can pick up the slack. Combat sports isn't like that. You have a bad day, you're toast. Anthony Joshua had a bad day.
He didn't look right.
Well, I read a report, and
but Ruiz looked good.
I don't know if
He didn't look like a tomato can to me or butterbean or nothing like that, man. He looked solid.
I don't know how credible this
His
is,
hooks.
but I heard a report that he was having like a panic attack before and had even thought about not fighting.
Wow. I did not know that one. No. All right. So anyway, folks, Khabib Nurmagomedov will unify, his undisputed belt versus Dustin Poirier's interim belt on September 7th, UFC 242 in Abu Dhabi. If you're all asking, wait a minute, wasn't Khabib going to sit out a whole year to honor the suspension that was given to his teammates? I think he relented and realized close enough. Plus, they wound up reducing the teammates anyway. So that's why he'll be fighting around the 11th month mark, because him and Conor McGregor fought on October 6th. That's when all that happened in 2018. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about this and another return. Nate Diaz is also back in action versus Anthony Pettis. This will be about a month before UFC 242. It's UFC 241 in Anaheim, California versus Anthony Pettis. We got a little bit of audio from a recent interview he did.
Champions, Hall of Famer.
Match against Jamaica, and SiriusXM is bringing you straight to the action. Tune in on Fox Sports on SiriusXM channel 83 for coverage of the United States versus Jamaica, live from Audi Field in Washington, D.C. tomorrow evening at 7 Eastern, or streaming it on your phone or at home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers. You know what threw me off?
Me?
Because I'm a brilliant live reader. When I read tomorrow, the U.S. men's national, when I said that, I thought they messed up. Because isn't the Women's World Cup starting?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that's what it was going to be.
Well, there was like some.
But then I kept reading. I go, well,
yesterday.
I guess that's true. Just because they're having a World Cup doesn't mean that the men's national team can't, have their thing going on. So I kept reading there. But yeah, the women's World Cup's starting up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the details?
I don't. But I enjoy watching it.
So do I.
I enjoy watching
it. Takes
women's
over the
soccer.
country a little bit. Like I've heard a lot of my friends who could care less about soccer. If the women start kind of getting to a quarterfinal or a semifinal, they want to get together, go watch it at a bar. So it does sweep the nation, take over the, kind of like create fans out of casual fans for those 3 weeks or month or whatever, however long it is.
Kids are playing it more now too, so even the FIFA game has females in it now.
We'll see if we can get a little bit more details on that, exactly when it starts, when the U.S. women play, and maybe have somebody from the soccer channel come in and talk to us about it a little bit. Dude, one of the highest I ever had was on a day when I had a huge low. I lost an uncle on the day that Brandy Chastain hit a penalty for the United States, and I believe we won 1-0 over China, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it was 1-0, but it was over China.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess they went into penalties, and, yeah, we won by a goal. There you go. And we beat China, and it was 1999 in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. So that's the young lady that took off her jersey and was just down to a bra. And so her celebration is pretty iconic in soccer. And I remember that was the day that I lost my Uncle David. But I just remember a lot of people getting together at people's houses and partying it up. And, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
The U.S. women's national team was they just had this incredible run through the 90s. And not that the next, set of generations were poor or anything like that. I mean, we've always been a power, but I think that group was like famous, and it was all led by Mia Hamm. Yeah, she was she was very
kind of
famous.
going towards the end of her run.
A little bit, but yeah, she was a power couple with Nomar Garcia-Parra, who played baseball for the Red Sox and the Dodgers, and so she had that going on. And then there was Michelle Akers, the one lady that
before her a little bit
had like a Ben Askren type of dude. She was really, really popular. And anyway, so I wish I would have heard more about the Women's World Cup for this year. But all right, there you have it. Channel 83 has got you covered. Let's continue talking about Khabib Nurmagomedov, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, Nate Diaz, that whole thing. All right, so the question, I guess, is where does it leave Conor? I mean, it sucks that we have to actually talk about this because we shouldn't have to answer that question. The interim champion should be fighting the undisputed champion to unify. So we shouldn't even be going, well, what does that leave? Like, Conor shouldn't even have been in that discussion. The only discussion Conor should be in is who is he fighting next, and if he beats him, does he get the winner of this one? And even that doesn't sound right because Cerrone and Ferguson, you figure that person has a lot of say in the matter. Justin Gaethje's thinking, well, what am I doing out here? I'm beating people up. How do I factor in? Conor, we always tag him to Nate Diaz, but Nate Diaz has another opponent now. Him and Anthony Pettis are fighting.
And he's kind of squashed wanting to fight him.
That I haven't heard, but I believe
he said I fight winners, and he's not winning.
That's a good one. So I guess to answer the question, though, where does it leave Conor? I would say Justin Gaethje. Ali Abdelaziz, the manager for Justin Gaethje, has stated that Conor already turned down that fight. So Conor must be thinking, if he doesn't want Diaz, he didn't want Cowboy, he doesn't want Gaethje, that he honestly had still a solid shot at fighting Khabib. And that's why I feel like the UFC was listening, because it's such a massive pay-per-view. 2.5 million those guys sold. That's a lot. I mean, that crushed the last one of 1.65 by a lot. I mean, not double, but 66% of the way, 2/3 of the way, maybe, whatever the math is.
But that's their business, okay? Do you think you and I wouldn't sit here every day trying to wonder who he's going to fight, what's he going to do, if maybe he gave us a better timetable as to how his career is going to plan out? Because I think a lot of us have the feeling that he's made so much money that really he's probably got, like, I don't know, maybe 3 fights left before. I mean, how are you going to get up for, whatever, $2 million, $3 million when you're cashing $80 million, right? I think if he just came out and said, I got 5 years left in me, or I got this, he wouldn't be talked about every day. I think it's the fact that we all feel like he's kind of taken 1 foot out the door already and could be taking boxing, who knows what. I think that's what drives us crazy. We're trying to figure out how is this going to play out these last couple fights for him.
You think about it, he's our Brock Lesnar. You know how the WWE
Yeah, he
count
is.
on Brock, and then there's times where they don't know if he's leaving or what's going on? That's what Conor McGregor is to
Good
not
analogy.
just the UFC, but the lightweight division and a little bit of the welterweight. Although I'm pretty sure he knows he doesn't want a part of Kamaru Usman and Tyron
Hell
and
no.
some of those other guys. I think he knows that that's just
But
that's not where he needs to go, and I don't think he wants to revisit 45. I think 55 is it, but Khabib's a tough out, man. I mean, that's just like the worst possible matchup for Conor McGregor.
I think he would fight anyone if it were his last fight and the payday were good. I think he's the type of guy that, knowing he's going to get smashed, he would still fight
And
to
he
make
still
that
teased
money.
Floyd, didn't he?
Yeah. The thing is, Floyd would do it. Floyd's all about money. I think he would do it. I just don't know how they can get everybody on the same table. I'm sure Conor feels like now he brings a little bit more worth to the table, but he just
But are
got
people
smashed.
buying it?
Yeah, I think
Are
some
they
people.
are?
I think some people would
Oh
buy
my
it.
God.
Not all the
We
people
are
that did
a
it
sick society.
before.
We're
So
buying
what
that
happens
again.
if you and I, I bought the pay-per-view at my house, you bought the pay-per-view at your house. The next day we talk about how shitty it was and how mad we're upset about it. I think this time we go, they're fighting again. Why don't we
Come over and we'll
combine?
split
Yeah,
it?
we'll split it. I think that'll happen.
Maybe. But I stuck to my guns. If we didn't have the gig that we had, I really didn't care about that fight because I
cared.
I kind of had a feeling that they're just lightning was not going to strike. I knew he wasn't going to beat Floyd. It was interesting that Floyd pretty much let him win the first 4 rounds. He didn't make a fool out of himself, that's for sure, and that's important. He went out there and represented, but a sharp boxing mind knows that Floyd was letting him just tire himself out, and there wasn't really much on display. You know, he was a talented MMA fighter with boxing skills, trying to go out there and have a little bit of fun and get a great payday. Hey, hats off. But he was Floyd was in no danger. So listen, let's talk a little bit about Nate Diaz. He's moved on from Conor McGregor, at least for now. He was on the Ariel Helwani show, the Ariel Helwani MMA show on ESPN. We got a few cuts here of some wacky. He's just as wacky as Conor sometimes. This is cut number 1. He's actually done with the 55 division, by the way. Him and Pettis are fighting at 170.
I'm just done with the 155 thing. That's in the past now. So I think it's time to start fighting at a more comfortable weight class. There's nothing for me there. I already did everything, beat everybody. I feel I'm the king of that division. In the car, I feel like I'm the king of that division anyways. I mean, I am the king of that division, so I'm just gonna leave it where it's at. It's just like there was no love for it. There's no love for me over there, so it's not worth putting any time in that. I'm done with the 55 thing.
I don't remember him having a title reign. He's
I
7 and
honestly
6.
don't even know how to answer to that.
He's 76 as a lightweight in the UFC. He was a WEC champ. I'll give him that. So he got himself a belt at one point. But in the
That's still not
UFC, he
even the
came up
prince.
short. But yeah, he's not the king. The current king is Khabib. Now, I think one thing he says as to why he's the king is because he may have fought Khabib on another occasion. Let's go to cut number 2. It kind of addresses that, and we'll show a little bit something about it too.
Khabib, I already slapped him in his face. I already told you guys that. So, and I beat Conor before him, quicker than him, easier than him, and then he's just gonna ignore that and then just act like whatever. He's a little big headed right now, you know. So I'm just like, whatever. I don't need to fight him anyways, because I already got a victory over him. So it's like he's just gonna hide out and play champ and act like a good guy. And fucking Mr. fucking humble fucking Khabib. I'm like, I'm not buying that shit. I don't need to sit around here and fucking chase nobody. If anybody need newly chasing, they gotta come this way. I slapped both Conor and Khabib, so how did that make anybody a winner?
All right, something that just boggles me is the better money comes along with being the champion. Go out, get the title, and everyone will come to you. Like you said, Nate, everyone will chase you. But along the way, you'll make way more money than you make now. and he always comes back to the paydays. The logic is just not there. The only logic that's there is the 90% of casual fans that kind of buy into everything he says and just go, "You get him, Nate. That's what's up. Stockton 209, bitch," or whatever. But none of that logic makes sense. I think he fought so well against Michael Johnson that the same way Conor McGregor was able to win the title, Nate may have been able to be a world champion, and he would have made a lot more money as a world champion if he just hadn't lost that second fight.
I agree with you.
He's 1-1 against Conor.
I agree with you, but I kind of see where he's coming from. It reminds me a lot of pro wrestling. How many times did The Rock fight Stone Cold Steve Austin? But nobody cared when they went to Alabama, and then they went to New York the next night, and then Florida. They didn't really say, "Oh, okay, so The Rock's like what, 12-6 against." Nobody cares, right? The night of it, just go, "All right, I'm in. Rock, Stone Cold, let's do this." I think that's how people are with Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
They just don't care about wins or losses. Just, when it comes down to it, they just go, "All right, Nate's on this card. Let's do it. It's gonna be fun." Look at him walking out with that scowl. There's his brother. They're pissed. Who knows? There's gonna be a fight afterwards. There's gonna be something at the weigh-ins. I think people just do that. I like that he did this interview. He says a lot of crazy things that don't make sense.
Yeah.
But when you're gonna be crazy, you have to be consistent with being crazy.
Well, he's that.
And now he has to do these type of interviews to keep that out there.
Do you remember
Otherwise
the fight
people
that
forget.
him and Habib had at the World Series of Fighting?
Yeah.
Did he slap Habib?
I can look.
You got the video?
Yeah. I think it was a kick.
Was it?
Yeah. Or no.
I'm not saying I don't believe him.
Habib kicked him, I believe.
But I will say this. He says they didn't do squat, and I saw some Russians pounding on some of Nate's crew. So I didn't see Nate get stolen, and I didn't see Crone Gracie get stolen. I heard Crone Gracie got stolen in a third fight because they fought 3 times. Once in the arena, once outside the arena, and once on the mean streets of Las Vegas.
That was even later, and then there was one more thing in between, but it wasn't big.
Right. But on the videos that most people have seen, I think Nate might be right. He might have got a slap in there, but I don't think they did away with any of the Russians. I saw some Russians punching people. I mean, there was a lot of them. They got outnumbered. 209 got outnumbered, but the way he told the story, I don't remember it that way. Listen, let's skip to cut number 4. He talks about Anthony Pettis, them being the real main event at UFC 241.
It's the main event. They're gonna call it the co-main event, but that's the degrading shit they do to me because they don't want no love or no points going my way because it's not Nate Diaz UFC. It's Nate Diaz versus UFC or UFC versus Nate Diaz for some reason. So it's like I'm just gonna do what I got to do to keep moving forward, and sitting on the sidelines like that, I thought, I was like, well, fuck them. I don't need to fight nobody then if you guys ain't going to give me no love.
Okay. Look, points go to the champions, but there are stars that get points. Like Conor, trust me, he's going to get either a flat salary or he's going to get some version of a point system based off the pay-per-views that are sold. Now they have this whole different thing. It's all through ESPN+, so I'm sure the UFC's had to negotiate a different way. But I don't think he deserves to be the main event, honestly. The main event is, well, I take it back. Well, for sure not the main event. The main event is DC versus Stipe. Co-main, sure, okay. If you want to say you and Pettis are probably the more popular, bigger, marquee fight than Costa versus Romero, you could probably talk me into that one. But as far as the whole point system, hey, man, it's not what you're worth. It's what you negotiate. Go in there and say, this is what I'm worth. Get your number. But trust me, you keep winning, or if you win belts, you're going to get paid a lot more. So just go for that. It's a simple equation. Goes just showed me the video. It does look like he maybe gets a slap in, but Khabib returns the kick. Similar to Paulie and Artem, right?
Well, a little bit, yeah.
All right. We got to take a quick break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156. When we come back, we'll be talking to Jordan Johnson, the first of our 3 guests here on the MMA Junkie Radio Show.
goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
All right, we're back. Gonna track down Jordan Johnson. He didn't answer. Whatever. We're gonna keep marching on here, and Kelly, as long as she's not on her celly, will track him down for us.
Man, she's always on her celly, though, ain't she?
I think so.
Non-stop.
Neiman Gracie is also going to be a guest of ours, goes, and I'm anxious. This is a guy that I just can't believe the turnaround he's had and the position he's in, and he's catching Roy McDonald at a time where
the best time.
Yeah, Roy's just having self-doubts about his career there after the fight he had versus John Fitch, in which John Fitch gave him hell, man. You know what I mean? Neiman Gracie was a guest of ours about 3 years ago. And I point blank asked him, listen, your family's legendary. They've done a lot for our sport. And, of course, it sounds like you're a new generation of fighter. But tell me, the first thing I want to know is about the striking. I know you got the jiu-jitsu down. And hopefully you got the wrestling to complement it. But, and I kept hearing from him and from others, hey, this guy's different. This is the new generation of Gracies. He went out there, he fought, and I didn't see what they had said, what they had promoted. So I thought, okay, we're back in the same thing. I've seen a lot of Gracies come through, but none of them with the type of striking where you could say, this is just an evolved member of the Gracie family. Remember when Vitor Belfort was Vitor Gracie for like a fight, maybe two? That's what I was expecting. Like someone that had jiu-jitsu, but could also throw.
Like Health back in the day. Health Gracie.
I think you might be thinking of high-end Gracie.
No, Health Gracie.
Was this striking that
Yeah.
impressive? I'll have to go back and check. You talking about the gentleman that lives in the San Francisco area?
Mm-hmm.
Real thin guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go back and watch
I remember high-end Gracie, Henzo's brother who passed away, he was an animal. But regardless. But Neiman, man, he really has improved everywhere. And the win over Ed Ruth was something else. He's a quality opponent for Roy McDonald. Roy McDonald will be defending his title while they both actually still compete to move on in the Grand Prix. So that's pretty amazing. He'll be joining us soon. And we're still trying to track down Jordan Johnson. Going back to the big news of the day, Khabib Nurmagomedov will be facing Dustin Poirier at UFC 242. That takes place on September 7th. You'd like to see a lightweight bout underneath those two, right? It's insurance for the main event, but also I think it's a good promotion for the weight class, and I think it's a good promotion for the contender that gets to fight the winner of that fight. They need to be on that fight card, in my opinion. And I'm not going to suggest Conor should be on that. Conor obviously has this thing about, hey, I'm main eventing wherever I'm fighting. I'm not anybody's co-main event. I get that. All right, I really do. Plus, that card will probably just do well. I don't even know how to describe what pay-per-views need to do. Do they need to sell well anymore? I don't know. I'm sure the UFC obviously wants to sell as many pay-per-views. I just don't know if there's this urgency that there used to be. But regardless, if they didn't care, then of course I would want Gaethje and McGregor to be the co-main event for that fight.
Well, honestly, that one would be probably the only one that's
perfect.
I think it's
actually
possible, though.
Why?
They're just not going to put Conor.
June 4th, that fight's 3 months away. You got
in that country.
To July 4th to August 4th to September 7th. That's 3 solid months. Why can't you do Gaethje versus McGregor?
It just doesn't make sense. They're not going to put him in that country.
Okay.
They're not going to put him around Khabib. But I think going forward, it should be like that. I don't see why they don't try and do that. I'm not saying you have to do the guy that's right underneath you, but at least have a quality bout where if somebody did fall out and it was an important fight like of this magnitude, that you could have somebody step in. I understand that. But that's probably the one scenario where I would say, okay, that one I understand why they wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're right. The location is the biggest thing. But, boy, that would be awesome, man. It would be insurance. I would really love to see something like that. You can always rely on old Cowboy. Look, on Saturday, Cowboy and Ferguson fight. Could the winner fight Gaethje? I mean, Ferguson would probably be like, for real, dog? I'm 13-1 now, 14-1. I just beat Cowboy. You still want me to fight Gaethje to get to it? I mean, he would be not about it unless you're paying him good money. He's probably just not doing that without even a guarantee because again, Conor could ruin it all. Maybe Cowboy would because he doesn't care. He'll just fight. That's like inviting him to a Saturday barbecue. I'm having a barbecue. Want to come over? Okay. It's the same thing as saying, hey, we want you to fight somebody else in front of millions. You want to do it? Sure.
Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje right now are in a situation where I feel like no matter what they do, they still can't really relax. And it's because of that anything can happen, especially in that division. I feel bad for them. Look at this, look at the tremendous streak that Tony Ferguson's on. Like, where in life do you do those type of things and not get that reward? Now, granted, it's not like they haven't tried. Things happen in our sport. But yeah, they're in a little bit of a rough spot. And I like the fact that Justin Gaethje doesn't like to take these short notice fights, that he'll take his time and really dial things down, because it really is important. And you see, like, some of the fighters that are retiring now, that are going through, I really think every fight that you take has to be the most important thing going on in your life. I don't think it's not a sport where you can half-ass things. In pro football, you can half-ass something in a game and come back, and next week, hopefully you guys get a W. Hopefully you bounce back.
I
Hopefully
agree.
you get closer to the playoffs. This sport, you can't do it.
Let's talk to Marco in Waco, Texas. What's up, Marco? How you doing?
Marco from Waco.
Marco, you there? Did we lose him? Okay.
All right.
All right. I'm trying to track down Jordan Johnson.
I think maybe Kelly's probably talking to him right now.
Okay. All right. PFL goes down on Thursday, and what we've started is the second season of the PFL. Last year, PFL had the regular season and their playoffs, and now they've started the second season. We're in week 3. It features heavyweights and light heavyweights. They start on ESPN2, then they move to ESPN+. ESPN has really come strong, by the way. I got to tip my hat to them. They got UFC and ESPN, and it's all over the place. You see a lot of replays, so check it out. I mean, I think you'll really, really like it. The good thing about PFL is they're in your face for the next 6 months. You're going to see a lot of these fighters fight 4, maybe 5 times. They know it. It's a heavy schedule, but at the end, they get paid $1 million. So tune in is all I can say. Hopefully they fight better than their attendance here on the show. But either way, man, I'm really, really pumped up for this season.
It's a fun format. I'm one of those guys that just really did not like the whole streaming era, everything that it's bringing. But I will say this, ESPN Plus has been pretty cool. I haven't had too many issues with them. I like that there's multiple organizations now. It's not just UFC. I'm okay with DAZN so far. But I like the consistency that the UFC brings to ESPN Plus. I like that.
I can't complain about the zone. I like them all. I'm easy to please, man. Honestly, it is. There's a lot of paywalls, to be a MMA fan and just a MMA.
To be a human,
you have to. Yeah, to be a human. But really, this sport, in the position we're at, we have to get ESPN. We have to get the zone. Fight TV asks for stuff from time to time. I mean, that's where Ryzen is, if I'm not mistaken. Now there's a new outfit, The Athletic. I want to congratulate 2 of our colleagues, 3 of them actually, our former editor-in-chief, Dan Stupp, and Ben Folks, Fernando Prates from our site. They have moved over to The Athletic, and when I went there to congratulate them and see what it was all about, it's kind of one of those, not pay for play, but pay to read the stories that they will be producing. So in MMA, you get a lot of that. A lot of people have no problem with 2 here, 3 there, 10 here, 5 there, but others do, because let's not forget, those pay-per-views, they come in at 60 here, 60 there, 60 here, 60 there, 60 here, 60 there, the occasional pay-per-view. Now throw in bare knuckle. I mean, combat sports is expensive. Boxing, not all of them are on the zone. Sometimes you got to pony up.
NFL Sunday Ticket.
And now let's talk about sports. Let's talk about life. Let's throw in Netflix. Let's throw in Hulu. Holy cow.
YouTube.
Yeah. Let's go back to Marco in Waco, Texas. What's up, Marco?
Marco from Waco. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, man, I saw you guys throw me into space or something. So, crazy weekend of fights, man. Talking about the son, I did not see Anthony Joshua getting a job, but homeboy Andy Ruiz, represent Mexican-American. I'm like, wow. And of course, I'm at the day behind because of the Gustafson retirement. And freaking today we found out that Jimmy Manuel retired. Freaking Nick Heim and Kim Mo. That one surprised me. Came out of nowhere. I didn't know Kim Mo was going to retire like that. So I just threw my 2 cents on that. And don't forget about Fight Pass, man. You get all these freaking small.
I forgot about them. Yeah, you're right. That's another $5.
Yeah,
or $10.
All the regionals plus Invicta. You want to see the library, you got all the USCs from here until forever, plus all the regional shows, kickboxing and Muay Thai. So yeah, it's getting a little bit expensive, man. I just wanted to say hi, guys. I miss you, and I wanted to, throw my 2 cents there and let you go on with the show. Peace out.
All right, thanks for the call. All right, let's talk about that since we have a little bit of time here. Unexpected time. King Mo did retire. Former Strikeforce light heavyweight champ. Former Bellator money weight, we'll call him, because he was a heavyweight and a light heavyweight. Former Ryzen open weight champion that they had their tournament that they had. And he wrestled on the international level for the United States, wrestled in on the collegiate level as well. So as far as combat sports, man, he did well in wrestling and he did well in mixed martial arts. But he did win a major title, and that was the Strikeforce light heavyweight title. He retired and was kind of unexpected. He just recently lost to a fighter he had beaten previously, and I didn't think he was done. But he was in his upper 30s, and he's been through a lot, man. His body's just been through a lot. And so in that regard, I understand. But still, kind of came out of nowhere, and I want to wish him the best of luck in his retirement. Great friend of the show and solid contributor to our sport.
I love everything that he said in the article talking about retirement. It all made sense. I think I want to say it's 5 ACL surgeries he's had. He had the staph infection problem that he almost lost his leg and all that. Now he's got this like bionic hip. It's a lot, and I think his elbow needs surgery. It is a lot, and if he can get a job coaching, doing something that he's loved to do his whole life, more power to him, man.
Breaking down film. I mean, he's really good at strategy and game planning.
He's great at that in all combat sports, wrestling, in MMA, and boxing.
Right.
He's the man, dude. And he's a really good person.
Yeah.
He's helped out a lot of people.
Also, Jimmy Manuwa, UFC light heavyweight, 2 days after his fight, 2 days after losing to Alexander Rakic, also announced his retirement. So, look, just in the last week or so, we've lost 2 UFC light heavyweights, a Bellator light heavyweight, because I'm counting Alexander Gustafsson. 3 off the card alone in Stockholm, Gustafsson, Manuwa, and Nick Hein. And then going back to a few weeks ago, Tom Duquesnoy, he retired. There's been a couple out there. And I think it's just, hitting us all at once. I think Manuwa, upper 30s, Mo, upper 30s, they kind of reached an apex in their careers as far as like what they were going to do. With Manuwa, look, he was upfront and honest, man. Those knockouts, come on. That's pretty brutal. He was looking out for his health as well, but he also knew, I think, any possibility of being a champion is just too long of a road for him. So I also want to wish him a happy, retirement, much success. Hopefully he stays within the sport. And he was an exciting fighter. He had, of his 17 wins, he had like 15 KOs, 1 submission, so 16 went the route of finishes. He had 4 bonuses. He got to 14-0 before he even got to the UFC and got stopped by Alexander Gustafsson. Then they became friends and actually trained together for like the last 5 years. But he did well in his career. So that one was not as much of a surprise as King Mo. But the fact that 3 off the same card was, that was something I don't think we've seen too often. And then, Rose Namajunas kind of was teasing it a little bit as well after her loss to Andrade. But I think she's similar to what Gustafsson is, and that was just a low point that she was probably feeling. I do anticipate her coming back, and I'll stick to my guns. I think Gustafsson will be back as well, but I got to respect the way they're feeling. They're the ones that go in there, and for some of them, they don't take it as a loss. Some of them take it as I've heard anywhere from humiliation to embarrassment, and it shouldn't be like that. But look, man, it's no different from when you were in grade school and If you got your butt kicked, or if you knew someone that got their butt kicked, I mean, they got made fun of a little bit. Well, this is a sport. It's a little different, but it's still that same feeling. You've been talking about this whole time what you're going to do to someone. Next thing you know, you're a highlight. You're a meme. You know, you're being told cruel things. Your family's feeling cruel things. It sucks. So, again,
I'm curious to know what's next for them.
Back from that.
Because, like, Alexander Gustafsson doesn't really strike me as, let's get him as an analyst, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe he could be good at it, but he just doesn't seem like the type that would want to do something like that. Jimmy Manoa, maybe there's more opportunities with something like that in the UK. Even if Rose wanted to do it, it's not like she's the most outspoken person. Those are people where I would go, I wonder what's next for them.
King
Mo's
do
easy.
it,
That one was
King Mo's lucky because he doesn't have to go anywhere. He gets to stick with the team.
Mm-hmm.
That was his team for the last 5 years. Anyway,
but he could always coach wrestling.
Yeah, he could coach wrestling anywhere in the United States. Jimmy Manoa, like, I would imagine if he wanted to be some sort of a coach, I don't know if he's some sort of a strategist to his teammates or what, or if he just wanted to teach people striking, could he do it just in London? Well, I don't know. I don't know if London's got 30 gyms or whatever, but I'm sure some gym in the world would take him. We'll do a catch-up with him, I promise. All right. It's the end of the first hour. You got one more to go. Coming up will be Neiman Gracie, Bellator welterweight. He's got a big fight coming up against Rory McDonald on June 14th, Bellator 222 in New York. We'll talk to him when we come back, all about that.
Take it away, ladies.
All right, just to bring everybody up to speed here, big news of the day, Khabib Nurmagomedov and Dustin Poirier will be dancing on September 7th in Abu Dhabi. They'll be headlining UFC 242. Also, some retirements that we want to go over as well. Alexander Gustafsson, he hasn't changed his mind. He retired this past Saturday after losing in the main event of the UFC Stockholm card. He lost to Anthony Smith. Jimmy Manoa retired today. King Mo retired yesterday. So I'm still kind of reeling from that a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm just used to those names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And think about how many names are just kind of on that cusp where maybe one more loss or something. There's some pretty big names out there that could be leaving the sport soon.
How about the fact that Matt Wyman's coming up?
Yeah. I think the other day, didn't we say, like, we should catch up with him?
Yeah. I did talk to him.
Did you?
Yeah. He hasn't fought since 2014, I believe. But he's not doing any media, or he wasn't at that time. And that's fine. But he is going to fight again. So I was just happy to see that. I always enjoyed watching handsome Wyman fight. So that works. That works for me, man. All right. We're expecting a call from Neiman Gracie. He's headlining Bellator 222 as he challenges Rory McDonald for the welterweight title. Their fight also counts as a welterweight Grand Prix semifinal. The winner will fight Douglas Lima in the finals later this year. And the winner of that Grand Prix, because they started with 8 and they're down to 3. So Douglas Lima's set. Now we're just waiting for the winner of this fight. The winner gets $1 million. Co-main event will feature yesterday's guest, Lyoto Machida. He faces Chael Sonnen. Darian Caldwell, he was on last week. He's defending his bantamweight title against Kyoji Horiguchi, who gave him a loss when they fought at Rizin for Rizin's bantamweight title. Caldwell really wants this one back. That way, at some point, they can have a trilogy bout. Dylan Dennis, the the most popular 1-0 fighter out there. That's Conor McGregor's jiu-jitsu coach. He is fighting Max Humphrey. Juan Archuleta faces former Bellator bantamweight champion Eduardo Dantas. He's moving up to featherweight to fight Archuleta. Archuleta's 22-1, by the way. He's a stud, man. So they got a good card out there. And you know who snuck up on me, Goes?
Who?
Did you know Aaron Pico's on this card?
No, but you know what? I was thinking.
He shouldn't be.
I was thinking about him because I was thinking of Dylan Dennis.
That was a brutal KO he took, man.
Well, how many times have these like showcase fights for Bellator not really played out for them the way they wanted to? And you're right, Dylan Dennis, 1-0. Fighting this Humphrey kid.
I got to look this up. I got to make sure that this is what's happening. Why hasn't anyone talked about this?
About Aaron Pico coming back so soon?
Yeah. I mean, that was a vicious KO, man. I'm saying is I think another 3 months would have been fine. You want to separate yourself a good 6 to 9 months. He's a stud. He's young. He's only 22. Shares a birthday with Goes. But that was on January 26th, and we're within 6 months, man. I don't know. I'm not too excited about this. I don't think that card needed Aaron Pico.
I don't think it does either.
Now, if Aaron Pico went and got himself checked out and Bellator made sure of it, then, hey, what can we do?
I'm stoked that I know somebody else's birthday now. He has my same birthday? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he has your same birthday. But
yeah.
I would just say, Aaron, tell you what, man, wait till September. And we'll feature you on an LA card or a San Jose card or whatever, and that'll be that. But what do I know? Ricky Pandejas, he's a recognizable veteran. He's also on the undercard.
Tough.
Phil Hawes, I remember seeing him fight here in the UFC as well. So, okay. Hobson Gracie Jr., 1-0. Interesting. There's a lady named Lindsay Van Zant. I don't know if she's any relation to Paige. I don't think so. They spell her name differently. Paige Van Zant, by the way, fractured her elbow. She's getting a long time ago, but I guess that thing has not healed, and she's getting her third surgery.
Yeah.
Other news to announce, she's moving to American Top Team. That's like a big move. We're talking about she lived in Sacramento. And she trained with Team Alpha Male.
She grew up in Oregon, right?
Then she moved back to Oregon where she grew up. Hey, why'd you move to Oregon? That's where I grew up. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, and that's not that far. Sacramento to Oregon. But now, Oregon all the way to Coconut Grove? Coconut Creek, sorry. I'm thinking of Scarface. Coconut Grove. It's Coconut Creek, Florida. South Florida. Yeah. That's a long way.
It is. But they both go.
But that's a good team, too. And I'm not saying the team she's with is not good. But, yeah, that one surprised me a little bit.
Well, you know what really surprises me? I thought, if anything, like just because of the route that she went with Dancing with the Stars and some of her sponsorship, I thought maybe like the L.A. area would be something that she would settle down there and maybe do movies or whatever, whatever she can do with her celebrity outside of mixed martial arts.
Are her 15 minutes up, though?
No, I don't think so.
If she's not winning, is she still a big ticket?
Well, that's what I was going to get around to is I think it's commendable for her after this now being a third surgery on the same arm. She can still make money other places. I don't think it's over yet.
Where?
Well, like she's done like not Master Chef, but where you come in and you're a chef for a day or whatever on one of them shows. Like she does those little paychecks that I gotta imagine are pretty decent along the way. So I don't think her 15 minutes is up.
Well, she did do Sports Illustrated. I guess that was pretty big.
She just did Sports Illustrated. You're right. So for her to still kind of show that she's taking her MMA career serious, because a big move like that, who wants to move, let alone all the way across the country?
And then
she just got married.
She moved to flyweight, and I've just seen more statuesque 125ers. I felt like 15 was perfect for her, but she said the weight cut just nope. I'm not gonna do that. Okay, we're here. We're listening. Drastic weight cutting. Extreme weight cutting. We're not trying to do that to the athletes. If that's something she didn't want to do, fine. But you move to 25, and you can tell, man, she's just not one of the bigger gals in that weight class.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish her the best of luck. But I feel like one more loss, and just we move on to the next one. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. I'm telling you, man, MMA doesn't stop for anybody, and you can pretty much say that the same for the UFC. They just don't. Nate Diaz is returning in August after 3 years. You know what happened since then? The UFC sold. And the UFC has not missed a beat without this guy. I mean, they broke the record. Nate and Connor held the record for most pay-per-views. They shattered that one. Somebody else came, and him and Connor shattered it. So one person holding out or whatever, they may be able to help themselves out from time to time, but I don't know, man.
I agree with you to a certain extent. You're right. People can leave, and the UFC's not going to go anywhere. But there has to be something. There's something to be said to how they also chase people, right? They chase Connor a lot.
Who?
They chase Brock, the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they would chase him if they weren't worth something, right? Because you would just go, all right, go do wrestling then. Forget you. I got all these guys. But they do still go after him. So they have some kind of value. It's just I think that value sometimes can get...
Well, they're massive,
They all
though.
think that they're, like, equal, I think. So I think if Nate is talking to Brock and he goes, what? You got paid $10 million and I'm only getting this? I think fighters have that within them where they go, I step in the cage too. I deserve what you get. And it's not like that. And I don't think they understand that.
Yeah. Well, going back to Paige, my point is, I guess, just if she takes another loss, I won't say she's as expendable as Sage.
We're not going to send her to Invicta or anything like that, right?
I don't know where she would go, but I think your star shines when you're winning, but when you're not, it can easily go away.
It's easy as this. If Paige Van Zandt still wants to fight, there will be a home for her somewhere. Somebody will take a chance on her.
Okay, but you're Reebok. You're paying her $30,000 a month. I heard some of those athletes get paid $30,000 a month. The ones that have the individual contract. You're the guy, and I'm your boss at Reebok. I'm gonna go to you and go, how's that coming along? Like, are we selling a lot because of this young lady?
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, you're going to be like, well, not. I mean, Reebok hasn't had the best run with the UFC, and I don't know that her stuff's flying off the shelves, and I just don't know that maybe we can put her face on a poster or put her in a commercial, and maybe the commercial itself sells, the gear itself sells. But at some point, I'm going to circle back and go, we got to cut 5 of them, and she might be one of them. We'll keep Connor. We'll keep maybe Rose or I forget who all the Reebok athletes are. I think they started off with about 15 of them or so. But at some point, you're like, no, we're cutting this one, we're cutting that one, we're cutting this one. And I just feel that she has 1 year where if she can maybe get a 2-1 record or a 2-0, hey, let's keep going with this.
I think the streaks are important.
Like, we're now a couple years removed from Dancing with the Stars, and I take it back as far as Sports Illustrated. That was pretty big, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think the streaks are important. So if she can win 2 fights in a row, I think that buys her a lot more of mischief outside of mixed martial arts. That buys her another Sports Illustrated or another hosting gig or doing something going on. I don't know what Regis and Kelly is now. What is that? Ryan Seacrest and whoever. One of those type things. I think she can do that if she can win maybe 2 in a row and buy herself a little bit more time. But you're right. Maybe the Reebok thing goes away, but I think there'll always be a place for her to fight wherever she wants.
Now she's also making pretty good money, too. She'll have to take a cut.
Yeah?
That's where MMA is a little unforgiving. All right, Khabib. Back to him. He's fighting Dustin Poirier. I'll give you that information one more time. September 7th. They headline UFC 242. However, another thing that came out of the news of Khabib back in action is he signed a new contract. And guess what? There's a George St. Pierre clause in it.
I like that.
Speaking of retired fighters, George St. Pierre retired. He actually had a press conference and everything. However, we all sat there because he's answered certain questions in the type of manner where you thought, fool, are you really retiring or what's going on? Is this a business negotiation or are you sending subliminal messages here about how you may be lured back and you might disappear, but what's the deal? I don't know. I don't know that anybody really believed it too much. So, all right, look, we were able to track down Neiman Gracie, so we're going to take this quick break, and we'll set them all up. We'll talk to him when we come back. He's fighting Rory McDonald at Bellator 222. They're headlining. It's huge. He challenges McDonald for his welterweight title. The winner also advances in the Grand Prix, and then once you're in the finals, you compete for $1 million later this year. So this is a massive fight for him. We'll talk to him when we come back.
Junkie Radio.
Our next guest is part of the legendary Gracie family. His name's Neiman Gracie. He'll be headlining Bellator 222 on June 14th. So that's a week from this Friday. They're going to be fighting at the Madison Square Garden in New York, New York. Neiman challenges Roy McDonald. Listen here, folks. Neiman challenges Roy McDonald for his welterweight title. And at the same time, the welterweight Grand Prix, it's a semifinal. Because the winner of that fights Douglas Lima for the Grand Prix finals. And of course, the winner gets a shiny belt. You can pronounce yourself the Grand Prix finalist, as well as winning $1 million. Now, if Neiman were to win, he would be defending his belt against Douglas Lima.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot here to unpack, but I think it's outstanding, and I think it's been a stacked 8-man tournament. So bravo, Bellator. Let's bring in Neiman Gracie. Hi, Neiman. How are you?
Hey, guys. How good? And you? How you doing?
We're doing great, my man. Looking back on this Grand Prix, man, there was really 8 solid names. Bellator did a great job putting this Grand Prix together. The champion defends along the way. The $1 million at the end. This one's going to be pretty historical in our sport.
Yeah, definitely. It is a great tournament, and I can't wait to be on the finals.
Yeah. All right. So, what do you think about the most in this? That it's a title that you're challenging the champion, that it's a Grand Prix semifinal, or what do you consume yourself the most when you think about this fight? You know, when you play it out in your head.
Definitely the belt. You know.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the most important thing in this tournament is the belt. So. Of course, I want the money, but the belt is more important for myself, you know.
Wow.
I like that.
All right. So Neiman Gracie's already got a lot of money in the bank. That $1 million, you don't think about it?
No, of course I think about it, but I think for my legacy, you know, the belt will be bigger than the money for sure. And if you think about it, $1 million is not that much money anymore, how it used to be back in the day, you know.
Yeah.
I live in Manhattan, New York, and an apartment here is what, like $3 million, $4 million, so it's not that much if you think about it.
You live in Manhattan?
Yes.
Wow. Isn't like the rent like $3,000 for a little closet? It's pretty bad out there, isn't it?
Yeah, man. It sucks. It sucks, man.
Well, $1 million will go a long way. You're facing Roy McDonald, and you saw how he acted after the fight. You know, he was maybe leaning towards retiring or at least taking some time off. What did you read into that, Neiman, as far as like what he was maybe trying to tell us? Do you think maybe he was maybe making an excuse for that fight not being a little bit more of a one-sided? A lot of people thought he was going to maybe run through John Fitch, and he had a tough night.
Yeah, I wouldn't say an excuse, but I think that he thought that the fight would be easier for him, you know, and it wasn't what he was playing around in his mind.
Uh-huh.
And I think he was a little bit disappointed because of that, you know. But I think he still wants to fight. I think he's still one of the best welterweights in the world. And I prepare myself really hard for this fight, you know. I prepare myself to fight the best Rory McDonald that ever stepped in the cage.
Neiman, I know that the Renzo Gracie fight team is very close with the guys from TriStar. Have you trained with Rory McDonald before?
I haven't trained him, but I have trained, and he was training at the same place at the same time. He came to train here, and I was also training.
Okay.
So we haven't trained together. But, yes, we have a lot of TriStar guys that come over here, you know, and but it's fine, man. It's all business, you know. I have nothing against the guy. I actually like him as a fighter a lot. I don't know him as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So I have nothing against him, you know. It's just business.
On fight night, or maybe just like the 24, 48 hours before you fight, how many former Gracie fighters or Gracie jiu-jitsu guys, your family's huge, and I was wondering how many people, you know, just send you a text or a quick message saying, hey, go out there, my man, you know, handle your business, Doppel Hada, or whatever it is that you guys say to each other to fire each other up. Do a lot of Gracies reach out to you?
Yeah, a lot. And also after the fight, a lot of people come to talk to me, and some older guys come to say what they think about the fight and what I should have done. And I think that's pretty awesome, you know. I like to hear what they have to say because one of the best things of being a Gracie is that you have a lot of people that did this sport before you, so they have so much experience, you know, and hearing from them good things, it's always a great experience for me.
I know that I know a little bit about the Gracie lineage, and I wanted to ask you, from Carlson's side, aside from Renzo, who is a Gracie that you appreciate getting tips and pointers and messages from, aside from Renzo?
One of the guys that I always call after I fight, and even sometimes before, to ask for a couple tips is Rickson. You know, in my opinion, he's right now he's like the patriarch of the family. You know,
wow. Much respect.
I always like to call him, and a lot of respect for Rickson. You have to, man. It's, you know, he's the godfather. So I like to always to call him and ask him what he think about it, what he think I should have done, and it's always an awesome experience, you know.
Yeah, and has he provided good advice and all that? Like, is he kind of like a mentor for you?
Yeah, definitely. You know, Renzo is my biggest mentor. Renzo is my teacher, you know. But Rickson is a guy that I call sometimes to ask a couple questions, you know. And he's always he's been helping me a lot and making me see the fight sometimes in a different way that I cannot see it, you know. So it's great.
That's awesome. All right, Neiman Gracie's our guest here on the MMA Junkie Radio Show. He's going to be fighting on June 14th on DAZN, 10 p.m. Eastern for the main card, and he's in the main event against Rory McDonald. All right, Goes, what do you have for Neiman Gracie?
Neiman, so your family has a very big legacy, and there's a lot of different generations to your family. Have you ever sat down, right now when you think about it, there's a lot of a younger generation of Gracies. Have you guys ever sat down and talked about what you would like this generation of Gracies, what that legacy would be like?
Sometimes I think about it, but we haven't sat down and talked, you know. I think because the family, everybody's living in different states and different countries, so it's kind of hard for us to sit and talk like the older generations used to do. They used to do it in a dinner table, you know. Now we cannot do that anymore. But every time I see them, the younger guys coming up, I try to talk to them, and we always talk to each other, and it's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty awesome to see that the Gracies are starting to come back to the sport and fighting, you know. For a while, I was one of the only ones fighting, and now a lot of the guys are coming back, you know. So it's pretty awesome.
You have a guy like Rory McDonald in front of you, and over at Bellator, there's so many fighters that have so many different they have a lot of characters. And some of them are funny, flamboyant. But this is a guy that's very calm and just very passive. Do you like it when you're paired up with an opponent like that, just kind of a quiet guy? Or would you prefer somebody that maybe talks a little bit of trash and gets things moving?
I'm kind of like that, too. I'm a calm guy, and I never look for trouble or to talk trash. So I think I like it better like that, you know. We get to focus only on the fight and what we're going to do in the fight, and everything else, it doesn't really matter. So I like it better like that. I had before guys talking crap and talking shit on Twitter, and to tell you the truth, it doesn't bother me, but I like it better when it's more respect, you know. I think the martial arts is all about respect, and that's what I like to see in martial arts, you know.
All right, that works, man. Thanks for the time, Neiman Gracie. We really, really enjoyed it. I want to wish you the best of luck with whatever camp you have left. I won't say safe travels in New York because you live in New York. You probably just have to walk a few blocks to get to the fight at Madison Square Garden. But either way, man, we really look forward to this. This is so huge. Not only is it a title fight, it's simultaneously also a Grand Prix semifinal. So pretty cool, man, that the winner will have the title. They'll have the Grand Prix belt and $1 million. I'm really geeking out over that. I think that's really, really cool. So good luck, my man, and thanks for the time tonight.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me, and I can't wait for fight night. Thank you so much.
All right, take care, Neiman. We'll see you. All right, folks. Follow him on Twitter at Neiman Gracie. NeimanGracie. Part of the legendary Gracie family. Although I was a little disappointed because I thought I was really specific and I said out of the Carlson side, but he gave me a Gracie from the Helio side. So I wanted to. That was gonna be my next question. Was like who from the Helio side? So he just beat me to it. But yeah, that family is massive, man. And imagine how many Gracies text him.
Yeah, but there's got to be.
You know,
I'm
Kira,
sure he loves them all,
Kira
but there's got to be a couple that
Gracie,
mean more.
Enzo Gracie, Hoist Gracie, Horian Gracie, the Horian's kids. There's like 8 of them, and the ones in Brazil, and probably gets a lot of them. A lot of them, I think, are really, really pushing for this guy to go out there and do his thing. So shout out to Dan, CJ, Danny, all those guys over there for Bellator PR for lining that one up. Let's take a break here and reset because our schedule got a little bit scrambled. But we are expecting to catch up with Kelvin Tiller from the PFL. So we'll be right back. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156.
Better hurry with that chewing.
I'm chewing as fast as I can.
Their mantles are covered with participation awards. They have boxes of gold stars that they purchase themselves. They are the legends and demand your respect. Here are George and Goes.
SiriusXM's The Beatle Channel wants to send you and a guest to see Paul McCartney and his Freshen Up tour at Petco Park in San Diego or Dodger Stadium. Both shows are sold out, but you can enter your chance to win a trip for two to the show of your choice. You'll sit in the SiriusXM suite and attend Paul's pre-show sound check. Sorry.
That's pretty cool.
For official rules and to enter, go to SiriusXM.com/Paul McCartney Tour. Do that before June 10th. No additional purchase is necessary. What happened to Tom Kelly? Or Tom Petty, sorry.
Hey, let's call her Tom Kelly.
Tom Kelly?
Yeah.
We're looking for a nickname for our producer, Kelly. She doesn't like Smelly Kelly. That's out. Always on her Selly Kelly. That's the leading candidate.
She was last minute Kelly a couple seconds ago.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk to Kelvin Tiller. He's going to be fighting on Thursday. And I'm really, really excited about this fight. And he joins us now on the hotline. What's up, Kelvin Tiller? How are you?
What's up, man? I'm good. About yourself?
Good, man. I'm glad we got to catch up with you. I was sweating it because last week we had a little bit of a mix-up. Today I sent you that reminder text. And I didn't hear back. I was like, oh, no, I hope he's not in a sauna or he turned off his phone or anything. But we really appreciate your time on Fight Week.
Well, thanks. I appreciate you being patient with me. I'll be busy, and then sometimes I just be forgetting. I got 6 kids. I just be everywhere.
6 kids?
So thank you. 6 kids, yes.
Man, you're getting busy during the off-season of PFL,
huh?
Hey, Kelvin, do you know all their birthdays? We were talking about this earlier. Do you know all of them off the top of your head?
I do, yes.
Damn it.
Yeah.
You must be a bad kid or something.
July 28th, July 17th, July 25th, April 28th, March 28th, and June 2nd.
A lot of stuff going down in the fall there, huh? That's when things heat up. I noticed that little 9-month rotation is ending in the spring there, Kelvin.
Gotta hibernate next time.
You think it's like NFL related or something?
Maybe.
We gotta win. Woo!
Yeah.
It just turns into that.
Yeah. All right. Will any of them be at the fight, Kelvin? Well, how old is the oldest one?
He's about to be 13. He won't be at the fight, but my daughter, she is 9. They're on the highway right now, and then my stepson, he is he's 10, and he's on the highway also. So they're on the way down here.
Man, that's a cool experience for them, I imagine, for the whole family. I mean, stressful, but I still believe that that's something every kid would want to be a part of.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do believe that. They had fun at the fight. They was there in my last fight. My daughter was like, even though you lost, Daddy, I still have fun.
Nice.
So they got to experience. They got to travel. They get to see more than what just Kansas City is. So, yeah, it was pretty good.
And to be fair, you're 1-1 against Rochalt, so it's not like, like he had your number. You had his number before, and it just happened to be that's the one she caught.
I got the finish, so I ain't tripping.
See, we've always said that on this show. There is a difference.
Yeah. All right.
And I was the first to submit him, so
you got
okay.
You got Mo DeReese, though, here on this one. And first of all, I wanted to ask you, did you enjoy having an off season? And you know what? To be fair, look, in other organizations, your off season's basically after your fight. You take 3 to 5 months off, and then you come back and fight. But this one was like you really, really knew that you weren't going to get a last minute call or anything. So I think you have the ability to really decompress, relax your mind, your body, your soul, everything. You know what I mean? So I kind of believe in this off season here that the PFL has established.
Yeah, I do like the off season. I also like staying busy, so I'm like it's a mix up between both. But just with everything that I was going through last year, I had a lot going on, and so to step away from it, from training and just the fight world and all of the cameras, everything kind of happened so fast last year, and so yeah, I felt like I did enjoy the off season, but there were times where I'm just like, man, I want to fight. Like, not a check. Like I want to go get back in the win column. So I've been itching to fight, but also I have like the time off and just to let my body heal, let my body rest. And I've been in this training camp since February, beginning of February, end of January, something like that. And so there was times where we was beating each other up so bad, I had to like, okay, I'm gonna take 3 or 4 days off to let my body rest. So with the long training camp and with the long time off, I did enjoy it. So like I say, it's a toss-up between both.
Kelvin, once you got eliminated, were you still a fan of watching the others compete for the million? Like, did you get involved in it, or did you just kind of turn away and just go into your own off season?
I wasn't so into the fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more into supporting PFL, so I did watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great organization. Every single guy is nice to me. I feel like they're nice to everybody. They really interact with all of us guys. Anything that we need, they're right there. There's been other times to organizations that I've been to with my fighters, with guys that I've trained back home, and the promoter is an asshole, or he just feel like he's above people and they want to be, a fake ass Dana White, stuff like that. And so seeing PFL do what they do, it was just a beautiful thing. So I always want to support that in any way that I can. So I did watch the shows just to support them.
Was it pretty motivating to see them all, compete and hold up those $1 million checks, and 6 lives were changed drastically? For
sure. It's very motivating, and that's what kept me motivated. That's what kept me in the gym, kept me going. So yeah, it was motivating.
Okay. Kelvin Tiller is our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He will be fighting on Thursday, folks. And remember, they're going to start off on ESPN2 at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then they move over to ESPN Plus for the main card. They have light heavyweights and heavyweights on Thursday night. And this is week 3 of season 2, but it's the first fight for the light heavyweights and the heavyweights. Kelvin's opponent that night will be Mo DeReese. All right, Goes, what do you have for Kelvin Tiller?
Kelvin, do you feel like the PFL format, does it suit heavyweights the most?
As far as probably the whole cutting weight process, yes. But when you got guys that are very dedicated to their craft and what they do, and I believe today a lot more guys are cutting a lot less weight. I've seen some guys in the sauna room. I've seen a few faces of, holy shit, I got to cut this many more pounds, or the looks on their faces. So, but I do think it's two heavyweights more. We big punchers. We get it over in the first round. Take 2 or 3 days off, relax, rest, and then we back in 2 months. So, but I feel like everybody doing their thing, because I know how it is to cut weight. I know how it is to cut a lot of weight. So if I was fighting like 85 or 205, this wouldn't be no fun for me. So yeah, they do favor the heavyweights.
I want to dive into your mindset, being so close to the fight here. What's like the longest you've gone, whether it be minutes, hours, seconds, days? What's the longest you've gone without thinking about your opponent?
Like I say, man, I'm a busy man. Like I do a lot for my community. I live close to a project area, so it's a lot of housing. I go down there and I teach the kids, boxing. I put them through workouts right at the park. I got my own kids. I cut grass on the side, so it's not really much time for me to think about my opponent. I've always felt that as long as I do what I'm supposed to do, then I don't have to really worry about my opponent. So I really couldn't give you an answer there. But like me being here now and seeing my opponent 4 or 5 times already, it's like, okay, now that's all I can think about. But leading up to the fight, I'm such a busy person. I make my own schedule. Don't get me wrong, but I'm a very busy person, and I really just don't think about it. I train hard. I'm always trying to mix things up when it comes to training. Like I say, I take care of my kids, a lot more other kids, my nephews, my nieces. I'm very involved in all of their lives. So I just don't really have too much time to think about it.
That's very commendable, Kelvin. And I wanted to ask you, have those kids ever given you feedback, after these years of mentoring or however long you've been doing it, where they've, changed the trajectory of their lives? Do you keep in touch with them like that, or how does that work? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, yes, I was just from Topeka, just been on TV, because being on a big show is not necessarily new to me. I fought for Bellator, I fought for World Series of Fighting, so I've been on a big stage before, and so they've seen that I've been doing this. My first professional fight was on TV. I can't think of the actual television show, but back in 2011, my first professional fight was on TV. So just with that alone, I have inspired a lot of people from my neighborhood, from where I come from.
Very cool.
And yes. And then they do a lot of we call them old heads. they give us a lot of feedback. They give me a lot of feedback and tell me to keep pushing, tell me to keep going. I'm inspiring. Of course, I got the kids coming up to me in the neighborhood. Mr. Tiller, you're a great fighter. I want to be like you. I had a guy tell me, her name was Kaden yesterday. He's like, I want to be like you when I grow up. My answer is always be better than me. Be better than me. Mm-hmm. And so that I do. I get a lot of good feedback from older guys, younger guys, kids. Like I say, win, lose or draw, I want to influence. I want somebody to say I got out of the streets because of you.
Right.
I want somebody to say I didn't have to sell dope because of you, because you showed me a different way. So that's my end game. I don't see me fighting for another 5, 6, 7, 10 years. I just want to inspire and let people know that where we come from, the hard background that we come from, we can get out of it. So I think that's why I'm so successful in the game, because it wasn't necessarily about the money. And yes, I do fight for money. Let's get that out the way. But the process, the training, we don't get paid to train. Yeah. We don't get paid to do nothing. We don't get paid to do none of that. So it takes a lot for us to stay in there over and over and be committed to getting punched, slammed, kicked, having to run every day, lift weights. That takes a lot out of us. People would rather do a 9 to 5. People would rather go sit at a desk all day than get punched and kicked. And part of me understands, it gets rough. So, I want to inspire people to be great and do what they really want to do. The road is going to be bumpy. It's going to be a rocky road, but you stick to it, then you'll be okay in the end. You might come out on the winning side. You never know when you're going to win. So just keep pushing.
Has PFL followed you? Has the camera crew followed you at all? I mean, I know they got 72 fighters. Maybe they can't follow everybody, but are they aware of all this? Because, again, this is very commendable. And one other thing, Kelvin, you're not just changing lives. You're probably saving lives.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's it. I didn't have that guy in my life. My dad wasn't in my life to stop me from doing the things that I did when I was growing up. And I had nobody to tell me that wasn't the right way. Besides, it was the total opposite. Everybody was telling me to do it, When we was carrying guns, shooting, selling dope, they was telling us to do those things. Keep doing those things, Or you're gonna be this, you're gonna be king of the streets. And then I realized, that's not the life that I want to go down. So I had to get out of that mindset by myself. Nobody. My mama has always told me I was great. She has always told me I was destined for greatness. Don't get me wrong. But my mom also worked a lot to take care of my 3 older sisters and myself. And so yes, I read a post not too long ago. It said, "Be who you needed when you was growing up," and so I do stand by that. And wow. I really do try to lead these kids down the right path.
Be who you needed was the quote, right? Be who you needed.
Be who you needed when you was growing up.
So can I ask you, would that be your father? You said your father was in your life. Is he who you needed? And if we're getting too deep, let me know. I don't want to get too deep on fight week.
No,
or if this is something that's uncomfortable. I find
it
fascinating, interesting, and very inspiring.
No, for sure. That's who I needed. My stepdad. My mom was married, but he was more of a friend. He was more trying to be the cool guy when he was around. And they're divorced now, so I mean I haven't seen him in 8 years, I believe. a father is what I needed, and not necessarily a father, because people do grow up without fathers, but a mentor, a male mentor. I believe men should have male mentors and that male guidance in their life, because no matter how hard my mom tried, when she went to work, I was figuring out how to, break into a house, make some money so I can go buy a nice pair of shoes, instead of having a man around in the neighborhood, in the area, that's teaching me it's okay to wear, a $40 pair of shoes, or
Right.
A $60 pair of shoes. It's what you got in your heart, that what you got on your body don't determine, if you're a man or not, or if you're cool or not,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a father is what I needed when I was growing up, and a lot of the things that I've experienced, that I went through, is because I didn't have a father. So I try to be that.
That's
I try to be
something
that
else.
guidance for the kids in my neighborhood.
Will those kids be watching on Thursday night? Like, is this kind of a big deal in your neighborhood and where you're from?
Yes, I I set up to one of the apartments where they got internet, and so I think like 15 of the kids is going to go to one of the apartments. One of my cousins actually live over there, and they're going to go watch it over there.
That's awesome. I'm so happy we got a chance to talk to you, man.
It'd be cool to see
so
some
different
feed
from
of
some
that.
of the other interviews that we've had. What's that?
It'd be cool to see a feed of that.
Oh, I
watching
know.
them all,
To
watching
watch
the
them
fight.
all, yeah.
It'd be cool.
Yeah. Wow, thanks for
I will
sharing
try-
all that.
I will try my hardest to get video of it. I'm sure it will be video.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll retweet it and everything.
You got my number because we exchanged text. So if you have anything that's set up, let us know. In the meantime, thanks so much for the time here on Fight Week. Hopefully everything's going all right for you guys out there in New York, and you're ready to go. I think you got weigh-ins tomorrow, and then get ready to bang in about 48 hours. So.
Yes, sir.
Good luck.
Yes, sir.
Good luck on Thursday, and thanks for the time. And hopefully we can catch up some more and talk a little bit more about this.
All right, yeah, man. Thank you for having me. Call me anytime, man. We'll set it up. I'm always down to talk, man. I sure do appreciate it.
All right, Kelvin. Take care. Have a nice night. All right, folks. That was Kelvin Tiller on Twitter at KelvinTMB. Oh, that's what I was going to tell him. He hasn't tweeted much, like since 2014.
Damn.
But that is his Twitter handle. He does have a Facebook page as well. His nickname's the Mama's Boy. But we'll get all that next time. In the meantime, I thought that was a really, really cool story there.
Very inspirational.
Yeah. I've never heard that quote.
Be who
you needed.
Hmm.
Do you have somebody that you needed?
Growing up?
Yeah, where you could say, that's what I'd like to be, like what was lacking. I mean, we had our father, luckily, and
I don't know that it was lacking.
You had an amazing big brother, so I can't be that. But
I would say I really liked Officer Lemur.
Okay.
I always looked up to him. So
Yeah.
if I wanted to be someone, I always wanted to be him, because he was just beating the crap out of people.
Mm-hmm.
No, I know, because they just call him Officer. He wasn't beating people. He's also he was a kickboxer. And
Yeah. And you're still in touch with him, right?
yeah, he's moving back to the States now.
Where was he?
He was living in Costa Rica. He was Kobe Bryant's personal bodyguard for like 20 years.
Right.
Then he moved to Costa Rica, and now he's moving back.
Oh. Man, you should have him come to Vegas. Or
It'd be cool.
if he ever comes to Vegas. Is he moving back to California?
I think so.
Okay. Kelly, do we have any more breaks to take?
We do. I was just going to tell you.
All right.
One
So
more.
we better take this one then. Let's do that. That way we can come back and close up shop. We still got our daily debate too, so hang tight, folks. We'll be right back. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, Channel 156.
They can't agree on anything.
Everybody knows it's duck season.
Rabbit season.
Duck season.
Rabbit season.
Whether it's food,
Less filling.
Tastes great.
Less filling.
Tastes great.
gambling,
Always bet on black.
I like red.
Black.
Red.
Black.
Red.
Black, dummy.
or even social media,
Instagram.
Snapchat.
Instagram.
Snapchat.
the same applies to the biggest stories in MMA. Time for MMA Junkie Radio's Daily Debate.
Today's hashtag daily debate question for the @MMA Junkie Radio team: is Nate Diaz making the right move by coming back to fight at welterweight? Remember, folks, he fought most of his career at 55. He dabbled at welterweight. Got whooped, kind of, to be honest. Forget about the Conor fights. Those were just the weights that they happened to walk into the arena to fight in. There was no formidable camps or anything like that. That's just what they wanted to do. But anyway, that's why we phrase it that way. So it goes, it's yes, should be permanent. No, go back to 155. What are your thoughts?
Go back to 155. Anytime we've ever seen these true 170 bouts against somebody that's fought at 170, we've always felt like with Nate Diaz's style, just the way he fights, you can tell there was a discrepancy. He'd get picked up and thrown around by most of these guys. It makes no sense. If you can make the weight. Now, if he's saying, I cannot do it, that's another thing. I think he's leaning more towards, I just don't feel like doing it. And if that's the case,
That's how I interpreted it.
I don't understand that, man.
Because
Like,
he
if
leads
you
a
can
clean
make it,
lifestyle.
do it. Yeah.
Like he doesn't really indulge much in drinking and partying, or aside from the MJ. But what I'm saying is, he's not out clubbing and making a mess of himself, like others.
Now, the other thing is he's the self-proclaimed king, right? He
He
doesn't have a belt.
He does triathlons.
So
and
I think he
style.
I think he's just, if there's money in 170 for him, okay. But I wouldn't say the Anthony Pettis fight is one that everybody's going, we got to see it. It has to happen. Like, that's not making you run out and buy the pay-per-view. So I really don't understand it. I would stick to 155, put a run together, and see what you can do.
I don't think Nate Diaz is I don't think he's a money weight fighter. He is just the perfect dance partner for Conor. But remember, Conor and Habib shattered the record that Conor and Nate broke.
Mm-hmm.
Conor versus Eddie actually did a pretty decent number. They did 1.2 million, which was 400,000 less buys than the other one, than the ones that he did with Nate for twice. One was 1.5 million. The other one was 1.65 million. Conor's the draw here. Nate is an outstanding dance partner. What I believe Nate can be, though, is a bigger star than he is if he had just kept fighting and winning, which he's beaten some good fighters. I'm telling you, when Nate Diaz goes out and fights and wins, he flips the sport upside down. People go nuts, man.
Mm-hmm.
Either one of the Diaz brothers. But Nate, as of late, because Nick's just really, really pulled himself away from the sport. So I feel like, look, if it's going to be permanent, just fight consistently. But if it's not, go back to 155, because 70 is just, I see some big dudes awaiting you. And I don't know. I feel like when I see Nate Diaz have to make 55, which means he gives you an honest camp, that guy could be a world champion. I haven't seen it in 3 years, maybe 4, if I go back all the way to the Michael Johnson fight. But the way he fought Michael Johnson, he looked damn good to me.
I'm thinking of some of these bigger 170s, man. I don't know if that's going to go his way.
I agree. I really do. 611 votes came in. 58% said yes, stick to 170. 42% said no. How about C or other? Dana, create 165. Right in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Not straight in the middle, but kind of in the middle. And
yeah.
I think he would make a lot of people happy, and I think Nate could compete at 165 because he wouldn't get the larger of the guys at 170, and I think he wouldn't have to suffer the weight cut. Our last guest, Kelvin Tiller, said, hey, look, most people aren't really cutting as much weight as they used to, but I still feel like we're going to go in waves in this sport. Anyway, there is the Daily Debate, again brought to you by the @MMA Junkie Radio team. Okay. Want to finish up here with a couple things. Just want to reiterate the big news of the day. Habib Nurmagomedov, the undisputed lightweight champion in the UFC, he will unify with Dustin Poirier, the interim title holder, at UFC 242 on September 7th in Abu Dhabi. Along the way, Nurmagomedov also signed a new contract, according to manager Ali Abdelaziz. And there's written language in there for a possible fight versus George St. Pierre down the road. The retired George St. Pierre, but apparently these guys might know something that we don't. Other fights already booked for that fight card. Shamil Abdurakhimov, boy, that sounds bad, versus Curtis Blades. Bilal Muhammad versus Takashi Sato. And Ottoman Azitlar versus Timu Pakalin.
Man.
Doesn't that sound weird?
God bless John Anik.
Abdurakhimov? Doesn't it sound like I'm doing something to a guy? Yeah. Abdurakhimov? Did you Abdurakhimov?
You need a nickname.
We just need to call him Shammy, right? His first name's Shamil.
Yeah.
Shammy's fighting Curtis Blades. I got to figure out how to pronounce that one off. Pronounce that one because
Shammy.
I might be in some trouble there. And one last thing here. Santiago Ponzinibbio, a solid welterweight. He's recovering from an emergency surgery for a bacterial infection. Boy, that along with Ricardo Lamas and the blood clots in his calves and the foot infection that Alexander Volkanovski got. Scary times, man. So
remember when they didn't have insurance?
Tell me about it. He is out of the hospital after a 1-week stay because of a bacterial infection in his blood. The story's up on MMA Junkie, so check it out. If you missed any part of the show, we're available commercial-free and in HD quality on the SiriusXM app. So check it out. That along with Luke Thomas at the fights, MMA Tonight, and Busted Open. I want to thank our guests today, Kelvin Tiller, fighting at PFL on Thursday, and Neiman Gracie, fighting on June 14th for Bellator's 222 card. Tomorrow we'll be back. We'll have Joseph Benavidez, Lillian Garcia, Emily Whitmire from the UFC will visit the studio, and Sean O'Connell from the PFL. For Kelly and Josh and Goes, I'm George. Have a nice day. Go out there and be a champion.